morning. Good morning. Today, Friday. What's today? The 8th of October. And we're here in the studio. We're here. We had having a conversation with our guest, and I'm generally intrigued. I mean, it's very seldom that I'm so intrigued with the guest that we have. We're here, and normally this is done in Spanish, but today we're doing it in English. The guest is from origins of Palestine, so we're going to be doing this today in English. And I'm excited because what we do here on the station is talk about the truth about business, but we include what is politics and how politics works with us. Today, the sponsor is the Small Business Union, and the Small Business Union is a nonpartisan group out there to educate our community on what is politics in general. What's the difference between this and that in politics? And we're bipartisan. That means we're not Republican, we're not Democrat. We'll talk to everybody, and we'll listen to the people that running for a position. And we won't choose because they're one side. We'll choose because these people are interested in us. It's not that we're interested in them. They're interested in us and actually working for us. So today in the studio we have someone running for Senate. Her name is Alexandria Khalil. Khalil. Well, that's easier, right?
That's easier, much easier.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so far excited about this conversation because it started out really well, and I can just see it going something very positive. Alexandria, thank you for coming to the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure and honor. Today's my birthday, so it's an incredible honor and a great birthday present. So
well,
thank you.
Happy birthday! This is a great. This is a good day. This is a good day. We met about 3 weeks ago at an event here at the Small Business Union where we had some politicians speaking, and I was intrigued at what you had to say that day. I said, you know what? We need to listen to her a little bit more, and that's why she's here. So let's get right into this. Alexandra, tell us a little bit about yourself, not so much politically, but just you.
Oh, great. I'm Hind and Faisal Khalil's second eldest daughter. I'm one of 6 children. My parents are from a beautiful village in Palestine called Al-Masra Sharqiya, which means the Eastern Farm. They were farmers. They farmed olives. They were shepherds. They had grapevines, figs, wheat. My grandfather first came to the United States at the turn of the century. This is my mother's dad, and he came in about 1914, 1917, served in the United States military during World War I, and went back and forth. That's basically been the story of my family's history and our village's history, is that people go back and forth to the village throughout their lives and taking care of their olive trees, their olive groves. And my parents, my father came about 1958 to the United States. He had many odd jobs. My mother was to join him later on. They opened a store in Glassboro, New Jersey, and a clothing store. One of the things I tell people, I'm very proud to be daughter of immigrants. When I was growing up, we especially when they first came to the United States, they weren't wealthy by any means. I mean, they were. My dad was just getting started in the world, and I remember living in a 1-bedroom apartment with my 2 or 3 other siblings at the time. My mother was pregnant, and my 3 uncles. So there were about 6 of us in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I remember that being a great time of my life. And so I get very upset when I hear people, oh, those people, or we don't want apartment buildings in our community because families will come in. I'm like, well, yeah, you do want families to come in. So family is very important to me. They had a clothing business. God bless them. They raised their 6 kids through this clothing business. I went to Temple University, studied electrical engineering technology, Drexel for my master's in library and information studies, and then Temple Law School. I'm a mom of Waleed Yusuf. Currently, he is 35, and I'm very proud of him. He's getting engaged. He's getting married in June. And I'm an IT specialist, an IT quality specialist in a pharmaceutical company in Pennsylvania, and very proud to make sure that I help have quality products that keep our patients, our customers, and patients safe, and that are of good property quality. So I'm very proud of that. And I sit on Jenkintown Borough Council. I've been there for about 3 years, and that's one of the reasons I'm running. I was an activist. I helped President Obama's campaign and many campaigns after which, and I spoke to communities. I spoke to different people. And so that's that, and the fact that what I see happening on council with all the burdens placed on local communities is why I'm running for the United States Senate.
Well, in your introduction, you took me everywhere. I mean, I was envisioning olive trees. I was envisioning when I went to Israel, and it's a totally different world. And people that have not traveled should travel, because you took me everywhere, and you landed in the city council. That's something I don't want to I don't want to land in, but you took me to small businesses. You took me to you're an engineer, you know, and I get like a satisfaction that here's a real person sitting in front of me.
Thank you.
And I want to talk to that real person. The first minutes of this morning we were talking, and I just got the sense of peace with you. An engineer running for Senate. Well, first of all, what is a senator?
A United States Senator, you know, we have them both at federal and state level. We represent communities, and for the federal, I would represent the entire state of Pennsylvania.
So, because I know with congressmen they have certain districts.
That's districts.
But you handle the whole state of
The
Pennsylvania.
entire state, right? So that I would be honored to represent everyone in the state, whether it's rural, whether it's suburban or urban, regardless of your party. I would represent the entire state in the needs.
What are the specific roles of a senator?
Well, you basically help. You introduce legislation from a Senate end, because there's the House end, and your role is really to serve the interests of your community, of your state, to make sure that the interests of your state are met, laws meet the interests of your state. That really is what we're supposed to be doing.
So you visit every community, as many as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You see what the ground level is, and you present changes that the people want.
Yes, I envision that. That's what I envision. To me, if I'm only visiting certain communities, talking to certain people, then that means I'm only dealing with special interests.
Right.
To me, it's important to go to all communities.
Right. We were speaking about some swampland near the airport.
Yes.
Okay, and that the community is taking it upon themselves, because the governor's not taking it upon himself to go and help.
Well, it's the governor. It's the senators. No senators ever visited him, and we have a Republican and a Democrat. And I'm a Democrat, and I like Bob Casey, but he and Governor Wolf need to go out and talk to these folks and see what's going on. Pat Toomey, Republican, needs to be out there talking to them.
Yes.
And to me, that's what's upsetting, is that no one has gone out and spoken to them, the folks at Eastwick. They have had their state senator and a couple of state representatives recently go visit. But for the most part, the people are on their own. And they do an amazing job. And it's just wrong that they've had flooding. They've had some help. I mean, so for example, the EPA, they in this community sits the 5th worst Superfund site in the United States.
What's a Superfund?
That is essentially where some type of dumping has happened of chemicals, of trash, whatever.
Okay.
It's landfills. It's a former landfills.
The 5th largest in the country.
Yes.
So we're receiving trash at a high rate, and we don't know about it.
They know. I mean, obviously, it was a landfill.
Mm-hmm.
So through the years, people, they were doing dumping. All of it, I guess, was legal, but some of it was toxic. And so it started to seep into the water, into the ground. And the EPA, the community is very, very happy with the work of the EPA. So kudos to the EPA for doing a great job to clean that up. But how did that happen?
Right.
How do you build a community next to a landfill? How do you build a community next on a floodplain?
our listeners are mostly from Philadelphia right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, one day they'll be nationwide. We have to get to the state. How many senators are in the state of Pennsylvania?
Two.
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 It's only two
There's only two in every state.
in every
In every
state.
state, there's two.
Okay.
And then the House of Representatives based on population.
Okay. Can a senator be Republican and Democrat at the same time, or just, or
Well,
they're
you can be any party.
okay?
It all depends who elects you.
Okay.
Currently, we have a Democrat, we have a Republican. At one time, we had Arlen Specter, who was a Republican, who became a Democrat, who became an independent, he became a Democrat. He was a Republican, independent, then Democrat, or something to that effect. He was a little, along the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the questions a little more basic because I know the community that's listening to us needs this type of education. I need it.
No,
Definitely. Definitely. I'm new to politics. So the senator, I envision you driving around, visiting people, handshaking, and listening to people.
Yes.
And that's where the connection that I thought was really well, because when we were speaking this morning, you come from a family of business owners.
Yes.
And this channel is basically listening our business owners.
Oh, definitely. And not just my parents, all my relatives. My uncles, my cousins out in Texas have a huge supermarket chain. My uncle has in Indiana has a carpet business, carpet tile. The other one has smoke shops. Others have grocery stores, clothing stores. Almost every person from my family's village are small business people.
So in the city of Philadelphia, we have city concerns. Do we call you once you become senator and express our feelings towards you?
You better. I hope so. If not, I'm going to be around. I will tell you myself. I believe part of the problem is that you become so detached because you're in Washington, D.C. or in Harrisburg that you forget that you need to drive around, you need to talk, you need to go to the local businesses. One of the things I do and have done in every stop, I make a point of visiting a local grocery store, a local mom and pop clothing store, because that's my family, and to buy something and to talk, say, hey, what's going on in your business? I was at the Reading Puerto Rican Day Parade, and I made a point of going to Franklin's, which is in there's a wonderful deli shop, great sandwiches there. There was also a gentleman who had a men's clothing store. Bought socks from my dad. How's business going? I was in Lebanon, did the same thing. How was business? What's going on? How are you making out during this pandemic?
Right.
Locally, I go to the local gym here, Rami's kickboxing on Rising Sun. How was business? How'd you make out? The poor man was shut down for 3 months, lost almost everything, because especially in the close nature. So he took his business outside.
So as a senator, you propose legislation. Let's say I have a concern in my business and I say, you know what? I don't know where to go. I call the senator. What other things can the senator do for us?
I can tell you from my perspective, a senator can sit back and find out what resources are out there, what programs are out there. They can sit back and find out why you're having difficulties. Now, of course, we don't want to have undue influence. But did my constituents submit some type of paperwork that was incorrect? What paperwork is being held up? I just recently had a call from a woman who told me she can't pay her. She's 77 years old, still working. Her home is old. She can't fix it, can't sell it. And she called to tell me she had received my card. I said, all right, let me see what I can do to help you today. So there's many things. Like as a senator, what can I do to help you today? The programs that are out there. Next thing I can sit back and say, well, what programs are needed?
Right.
So whether it's at state level, I would have my office connect with the state representatives, the local representatives, depending on the nature of the situation. If someone is suffering food insecurity, if it's a senior who was in despair, I would call the local the elderly agencies.
Your office, do you have a physical location as a senator?
Yes, you would have multiple locations as a senator. You'd have obviously the one in Washington.
Yes.
And then you'd have them around the state. And God willing, if I were to be blessed and honored to be senator for the United States, I would not have my office in Center City. I would look to have it here in this area, in the Lawndale, Feltonville, Olney area. I think that this area has not been well served. I would also look to have, I would myself like to have multiple offices in Philadelphia, if that were to be allowed because of the size of the city. I'd want to have one, of course, throughout the states, but in
For
area,
example, Pittsburgh, you would have one?
but not necessarily in the city of Pittsburgh, or maybe in the city of Pittsburgh, but in an area that is not as served. So I was looking at Sharpsburg as a
Okay.
symbolic that, you know what, the wealth left you, John Hines left you, the Hines Corporation, but I'm here, and I'm going to see what I can do to bring it back, just almost symbolically to say you need to these towns
Yes.
and these people, and that's what I see. I'm very proud. I love being part of the city community. Even Jenkintown basically is urban suburban community, but there's a lot of areas, suburban, urban, rural, that are forgotten.
Yes. I honestly, I have never spoken to a senator. I don't remember speaking to a senator. They've never approached me, and I've been here for 35 years. And what you're saying, everything that you've been saying this morning, before the show, now, is like, holy smokes, where are these people? Where? I mean, this is something that, like, I don't feel that you're just telling me this just to hear it. We need to understand that we're the ones hiring senators, congressmen. We're the ones hiring the president. We're the ones hiring these councilmen, and they need to listen to us. And this is our opportunity. I think things are changing right now, where the people are taking back their country, their city, and we need help because here in the city it's tough. You speak negatively. You use the words of constituents, and you use the words of favors. And you didn't use the word favor, you used other words, but similar to that. And that's how I know politicians, and politicians are really not supposed to be that way. And they're out there, and you're one of them.
Yes, I am a politician. I mean, I sit on borough council, so I am a small politician. But I do know that if I'm not doing my job because, oh, well, this person's a Republican and didn't vote for me, or this person's an independent, didn't vote for me, or, hey, a Democrat who didn't vote for me, and they're upset about their current situation, others are going to start to see it. And also the decline in the community. I've spent a Friday night with a group of folks in my ward who were having a terrible time with traffic. Most of them are Republicans, but that's my duty. My duty is to make sure that they are happy, that I am serving them, that I am helping them. I learned a lot of that. I campaigned with a wonderful gentleman named Larry Curry. I don't know if you remember him. God rest his soul. He served in Harrisburg for our area for many years. My first time I went canvassing with him, I was representing President Obama, and helping Larry. We go to the door, and an elderly woman, 80-some years old, comes straight to Larry and says, "Can you help me?" Not hello, "Can you help me? My husband suffered a stroke. We're running out of money. Can't pay my property taxes." I heard this over and over and over again, but specifically to Larry, what was so amazing to me was hearing Republicans say, "Oh, I'm voting for Larry Curry. He helped me." Independents, "I'm voting for Larry Curry. He helped me." Over and over and over again. It didn't matter the party. He helped people. And that, to me, is what's most important, that when people go, "I need help, I'm going to call out a senator or a borough councilor, Alex Khalil." I've had people in Philadelphia call me and say, "Can you help me?" And because I know certain people, I call them up. I say, "Your constituent needs help." And they thank me. They thank me. "Thank you so much for letting us be aware of that." And so I hope to bring that same community attention back to the Senate for Pennsylvania.
So, Jay, I believe this conversation is really nice. If you have any questions, you can bring to the table. And anyone listening, if you have a question, please fill it in down below and let us know. We'll propose those questions to the Senate next senator.
To your mouth, to God's ears.
This show is being sponsored by the Small Business Union, which is an organization that promotes unity among business owners. So I'm hearing a fresh voice of someone that's going to listen to us. Alexandria, I see this state as huge. I mean, most people don't even leave Philadelphia. Our store owners don't leave Philadelphia. They rather go to their own country versus travel the state. How do you divide yourself in so much land?
You know,
Oh boy, sorry about that. Done.
I get invited to certain areas. I go visit. I have always gone to visit certain parts of the state. Typically, someone hears that, hey, I'm an activist on the ground. That's how I've learned about it. And I'm invited, hey, can you come and help us? And so I go and I go drive up to Elk County, or I drive up to Sharpsburg, or I drive up to Monroeville. I've been to Lebanon County many times.
So the more we pull in your skirt, the more we get your attention.
Just call me.
Right.
The more you call me, I'll come.
So us store owners, grocery store owners, pizza shop owners, dentists, all types of small businesses, if they're in a pickle, and they can call Alexandria and say, listen, I have this trouble, and you'll pick up the phone.
Definitely. Definitely. And I will have staff that will be focused on community.
Question, you're going to have offices throughout the state, and you're going to need that staff. What is the budget of a senator?
That I don't know. I need to learn that. And so I will make sure that I learn that and get back to you about that.
Because I was speaking to some congressmen, and I know that they have $300,000 and $400,000 per year to staff. I mean, that's a decent sized staff. So you're not going to do this by yourself.
Oh God, no! You can't do it by yourself. But I'm sure a senator has a much larger staff, budget.
So you're not interested in money then?
Well,
by not knowing that information right there, that's good. I mean,
I know I'm going to need money.
Yes.
And I will have to, as a senator, you do have a larger staff. I do know that there are problems on Capitol Hill with many of the staff not having enough salary. So for me, the salary not being large enough to afford Washington, D.C., for me, it's important that I have a tiny Washington staff and a huge Pennsylvania staff. That is, to me, more important. With Zoom, with Teams, with all this technology, we can talk instantly. I need my constituents to have someone who they can talk to instantly on the ground.
Beautiful. Yeah, the situation right now with hiring people and salaries is going out of control. Money, budgeting. I mean, what do you think about the budget right now that they're proposing?
I support it because of how little has spent on the American people. A lot of people sit back and when we sit back and compete in a world economy, we compete against our European allies and our Canadian allies, our Israeli allies, and what they spend on their folks is so much more than what we spend on our own. So
but if you read the bill, the majority is not even staying in this country.
I don't think so. I think that if you sit back and take a look at, you're talking about the military bill and the foreign aid bills.
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure is in the United States.
If you read it, most of it's leaving the country.
In which way, if may I ask?
I see that a very small percentage is staying here to help the public, and the majority are leaving to other countries and supporting other countries.
And because of our infrastructure is made abroad, and then they will bring it back in. Is that what you're? I'm going to tell you where you and I are going to agree on that. I am on my policies and my platform. American infrastructure must be made with American products. And that is, to me, and this is something, I am a supporter of the Green New Deal, but I tell everyone, it's not going to be a Green New Deal that benefits the United States if, for example, solar panels, 75% of solar panels are made in China. That can't happen. We have to have that technology here. We cannot have semiconductors made abroad. We have to have those here. You saw what happened with the pandemic. We didn't have masks. We didn't have gloves. We didn't have respirators. How is that? I recently was in a discussion with someone on Wednesday. This organization that wants more spending from the State Department, And I told him, I said, what kind of country sits back, and it's what we've done, and sells all its, or gives away its intellectual property to the world? I mean, essentially gave it away to China. So it's not like the Chinese's fault. It really is, or the people of China. We, our businesses, said, here, you make it because you can make it cheap.
Right.
And what did we do? We became totally dependent, and we helped make China very wealthy. Plus, on the fact that also Chinese are really very good with their money. They don't spend as much as Americans spend.
Correct.
They save a whole lot of money. They focus on education. But having said that, we gave it to them. Apple, Walmart, you gave them our country and the jobs. So to me, that is, you know, how could you? And then you're complaining because China is going around the world investing. Well, you gave them the money.
That's correct.
You gave them the business.
The opportunities.
The opportunities,
jobs.
right. So for me, all this, any infrastructure that's going to American pipes for our sewers, American solar panels, windmills, investments in our infrastructure must be made in the United States. Otherwise, it's a waste. You're right. Then it's money that's going to go abroad. So you'll see that I'm a heavy fighter and demand that these items be made, or these products be made in the United States.
Made in America, and we purchase our own.
Yes.
So instead of going to Walmart, we should be buying from ourselves, from our own small businesses.
That's exactly right. You know, Walmart has its place, right? No one sits back and says we want to get rid of the Walmarts of the world. I don't shop at Walmart all the time, but there are times I do. But small businesses have their place.
Yes.
And, you know, when we have empty stores, Walmart is not going to fill all your property taxes here, are not going to pay your, bring in vibrancy to your community. They're not going to bring people to your downtown. People go to the Walmart and then they go home.
That's correct.
And so you know, and when you see blight, it's because people have left their small businesses. You know, when my parents' business shut down, the building was condemned, and there now stands just a big open space there, which was once a vibrant business.
Very good.
But I'd like to go back to the bill,
Okay.
if we bill, because I think the bill is very important. That when we talk about our allies, right, and then I tell everyone, the U.S. sent its finest to fight fascism in World War II, and we helped defeat fascism of Europe, and then we rebuilt Europe and Japan. All right, we spent over $200 billion.
But these are trillions we're talking about.
Right now in today's market, and today it hit the trillions, right?
Yes.
But we invested it in other countries.
Right.
We didn't invest it in the United States. So now if you take a look at Japan, if you take a look at Germany and Europe, and they have high-speed rail. They have magnificent rails. They have, more importantly, every European country and Japan have a universal healthcare system.
So if you agree with the bill, once it's signed, it's basically out of our hands.
No, it isn't. You know, you can sit back part of it is to make sure it gets to your constituents. Part of it is to make sure up front that you are fighting for those and continue. It's not something that you don't fight every day.
Would you say that most of the senators, or people voting for this bill, have actually read the bill?
Of course.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I can tell you Senator Sanders knows the bill probably by the palm of his hand. You know, I think that when we sit back and we look at what's important is to raise the standard of living for Americans. Some Americans were living on $2 an hour.
How do we, I wouldn't say the word guarantee, but how do we make sure that the money stays here and doesn't leave?
You know, again, we sit back and hope that from my perspective, we have to go back and give incentives to our corporations. Well, I wouldn't say just incentives, carrot and stick approach.
Mm-hmm.
You send you want to outsource this stuff, we're going to tax that. We're going to add levies on it. We're going to sit back and make it difficult for you to outsource the manufacturing of these jobs. We call these products national security interests. We label them that they have to be made in the United States. And we have to also, as Americans, sit back and challenge these big businesses that are just basically selling away our entire
Country.
country. They've sold it away.
Yes.
And I had a gentleman in the Northeast, had a young man. It's interesting. There's the one who's been experienced in life, and there's a young man in school who's listening to lectures. And, so this young man is studying economics, and the professor said, well, as wages go up, inflation goes up, and you lose your buying power. And so this young man is telling me, I'm studying this in school. I said, yes. Did they teach you in school what happens when they outsource your job? Did they teach you about that? So when you become that economist, that finance person, and they outsource your job, we'll have another conversation. Ask your professors about that. So I cross the street, and I meet the real life world. This man told me his job, he didn't like my platform, but the jobs. I mean, just to be honest, he goes, my job was outsourced 5 times, 5 different companies. He lost jobs.
Yeah.
A middle-aged man like myself. And so I go, why? He's a vibrant, hard worker. This young man across the street who's looking for his future, doesn't he also have a right to get a job where he gets trained? What I see happening is I respect people from all parts of the world. I respect hardworking people. I respect immigrants because I'm the daughter of immigrants, and I know that this country gave my parents a break. So, of course, I'm okay with immigration and whatnot. What I'm really very much against is the outsourcing of our jobs.
Well, right now, there's a whole bunch of people in the medical business industry that are saying, I'm not going to get the job. And 70,000, 80,000 people are leaving. And they're saying, that's okay. We're going to hire some people from the outside.
Oh, well, you mean because of the vaccine?
Yeah.
Well, I'm vaccinated. My parents are vaccinated. My son, all my siblings, all my adults. And the reason I say this to the community is that the people I love and care about the most are vaccinated. I feel very comfortable and very safe. I feel that
but again, we're going outsourcing, and they're saying we're going to fly in people from India, and they're going to take your jobs.
Well, again, I don't agree with outsourcing. So I would say to the folks who are hesitant to get a vaccine to have a conversation with your doctor. Have a conversation with folks who have been vaccinated, like myself, and your neighbors. And I can tell you that you've been vaccinated against the polio. You've been vaccinated against
I understand,
smallpox.
and that's the vaccination side. I'm talking about the side of outsourcing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think that us bringing folks in from other countries to fill the need of our healthcare workers. When we have healthcare workers, what we need to do is work with our healthcare workers who are uncomfortable with having been vaccinated and work with them to become vaccinated. I think we have, doctors and leaders in the community have a responsibility to know where people are and to try to work with them through that.
Well, okay. In reference to that, I see that the education and the truth about what's happening with not only vaccines but everything else of our jobs leaving our country.
Yes, I agree. That is ridiculous.
That's speaking about the truth of actually what's happening and connecting with the people. How does the people connect with the senator and the senator connect with its people on talking about the truth and what's really happening? Because you've been here since the 60s.
I was born here.
Right. You were born here since the 60s.
Yes.
Okay, just like me. And I don't know. I've been oblivious to the politics and the economics of the politics behind the scenes where now we're being exposed. And the listeners here are store owners that just got here 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, and have no clue on how to connect with this socioeconomic system. Mm-hmm. How do we keep the people going to small stores? How do we empower the small stores so we don't get taken away by the Walmarts and our jobs don't get taken away? I love Indian people, but I could see them coming in and replacing all these people that are saying I'm losing. I'm going to stand up for myself, and I'm losing a job today because I agree. I say to myself, I don't believe I'm being vaccinated. And any situation, not just the vaccine situation, where we empower ourselves again. These small store owners, our immigrant communities, get empowered in educating ourselves on what's really happening at the highest levels. And bringing it down from the highest levels to the people, and the people going to the highest levels.
Okay. Well, one of the things, again, when we sit back and I talk to a small business person, I ask them, what are the issues in your business, your employees, your family? Here's some of the things that I can do to help you. One of the things I can do is help make healthcare as affordable for your family. I believe we need to go to a Medicare for all system, but in the meantime, we have the Affordable Care Act. As a small business owner, we have special subsidies, and I believe we need to increase them so that your health care is almost no cost to you. I do not believe that you need to be in the business of health care. We need to sit back and make it as affordable for you.
These stores do not have health care.
That's
none
right.
of them. I'm telling you, none of them.
And yet, here's what's interesting. Under the the rescue plan, President Biden's rescue plan, millions were given to the Pennsylvania Penny, I think it's what's called. Oh, for goodness sakes, it's our version of the Affordable Care Act exchange. And so if you are a small business person, contact Penny, PENNI, and I will get you I will give you the exact website. And you can get highly subsidized, at least for the next 2 years, highly subsidized health care. So that is almost at no cost to you and your family and your business. So
I would love that, because I know that all our stores, all of them, do not have health care.
Yes,
I pay so much. And I'm one of the healthier businesses.
Right.
And I'm like, how can I continue paying this? This is just absurd.
But it's exactly right. And that is why so going back to our European allies, and how we help businesses. Well, one of the ways we help businesses is that we sit back and we help make childcare affordable. In Europe, Israel, they subsidize healthcare. Childcare, because it's part of their education system. They subsidize college education. So at the end, it's of very little cost to them. They subsidize, in one form or another, have some type of universal health care. Now, these are all capitalistic countries. These are not communists. These are capitalist countries. Germany, the home of Mercedes-Benz, has, subsidizes their child care, subsidizes their health care and university costs. So you sit back and go, okay, as a small business person, can focus more on my business.
So how do we educate? Well, you just said, let's talk to Penny. How do we continuously educate people for services from the Senate level?
Yes.
Okay. How do we do that? Because I envision, from what you're talking, having all the people of the Small Business Union coming and signing and saying, this is what we need. We need health care. How do we get it?
Right.
And giving you a list of 1,000 store owners and saying, these people need help.
I would come to you, to be honest. I'd come to an organization like yours, the Small Business Union, and I'd say, here is what this bill can help your community, small business owners. In fact, I will sit back and recommend that you reach out to the governor's office, you reach out to your state representatives to come speak here about Penny, to find out what it will sit back and help your small businesses.
How come it's not being done now? Like, I have to ask, instead
Yes.
of someone coming up and saying, Fernando, did you know that this is available to all the store owners?
I don't know why, Fernando. That is, I'm telling you, very poor communication, very, very poor. To me, I'd like to step back almost 10 years when the Affordable Care Act came out. You couldn't get anyone to sit back and talk about it. So two friends of mine, Michael Barrett and Terry Hoffman, and I, we're just regular citizens. At the time I was not on council. We set up tables throughout Montgomery County and educated the community about the Affordable Care Act. Like, here are the benefits, here are the subsidies, here are the people you go to, and people appreciated that. Unfortunately, our elected officials did a very poor job and continue to do a very poor job communicating what the benefits are. My promise to you is I will get you that information about Penny so that you can sit back and learn more about it. I think I have it in my car, and I'm glad it came up.
Yeah, thank you. I love this conversation. I would love to make it forever, but the time, we have other obligations. If you like this type of conversation, please hit the like button. Let us know. Call us up, okay? Here at the union, what we want to do is we want to unite a certain group of people, which are small businesses, so we have a voice. And it looks like Alexandria is listening, and she has everything in place where we can support her and get her elected. When is the
May 2022.
So we have time.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I'm glad because most politicians they wait till what May 1st to start talking to us.
No.
So you're here way in advance and talking to us, and you're educating us, and we need that education desperately. The biggest education that we do need is how important our vote is, and that's where we met. You know, do people really listen to us? And I get the sense that you're going to listen to us. I don't get that politician talk. Yeah, we're gonna get you this and this. No, I'm genuinely hearing from your heart that you're gonna listen to us and you're gonna help us act. We need your support. The union needs people like you to teach us. We don't know. Honestly, all the people listening don't know what a senator does, what a congressman does, and how we're really going to get this help.
I feel that part of that is due to lack of education. Even in our American schools, they don't teach civics.
Yes.
Or physics, but they don't teach civics. So you go in, and I had a little boy ask me, "What does a senator do?"
Yeah.
And so I had to sit back and explain to him. And so it is important. So our schools don't teach it. So I believe then it's my job to come teach it. It's my job to sit back and to come onto a program like this and to tell you, this is what we're doing. This is where I see the need. Do you see that need? Maybe you don't see that need, and there's a need that I hadn't even thought about. And I need you to come tell me, hey, we need some help with this particular area, infrastructure. Look at all this blight. We need the way to bring, bodies to our town, to our centers. We need, what's out there. Look at our sidewalks. No one has taken care of it for years. What can you do?
Is there funding for that now?
There's funding in the infrastructure bill, in the president's infrastructure bill. So I will sit back and get you all the information for that.
We need that education. We need to empower the people back again. This country was built based on suffering of so much power over us.
That's right.
And I believe that we should cut down some of the government, okay, and educate ourselves again and empower the people again through businesses.
Well, let me tell you what's interesting. This is again going back to government, and this is about what we know. And it's important to have businesses, but it's important to have a functioning government. Our Constitution protects us from the government, and it's our right.
Well, they're destroying the Constitution right now.
Well,
it's being tested to the limit.
You and I are going to have to disagree on that because I think that President Biden's doing a great job. I didn't like the last president, but I wouldn't have voted for him whether regardless of his his certain stances. I never liked him. Number one, and I'm a Democrat. So I'm a Democrat, and so I vote with my party, especially if I really like the candidate. But having said that, to me, when people sit back and say, "Well, yes, we need vibrant businesses. We cannot sit back and not have vibrant businesses." But the Constitution protects you against the government. It doesn't so much protect you against businesses. It's you and your contract, right? If you have a contract between, that's basically the four walls of your contract. And for the average person, if they are not savvy enough,
right,
or don't have the proper representation, have the proper finance people, they're lost. So that's why I think that we can sit back and help. The government can help in that way. Help with public banks, for example. Like I'm a big supporter. North Dakota has a public bank.
What's a public bank?
It's actually funded by taxpayers. It's a bank funded by the taxpayers. Now, North Dakota is a very conservative state, and they have a public bank. And they were able to help their businesses through the Great Recession, their communities through the Great Recession, because they had their own funds. They didn't have to worry about Wells Fargo, or they had they had an institution that worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think it's important that Pennsylvania have that. And I would work at the federal level to help Pennsylvania have that. It's important that Pennsylvania have services, institutions that work to make Pennsylvania better and a better place for businesses. Some of the Massachusetts is a very democratic state, And yet it's a very vibrant state that spends a lot on small businesses. So I would sit back and try and work with our local officials, state and local officials, that we fund, give more funding for local businesses and make it as much as possible grants and things that don't have to be paid back. It is a shame in this last.
So there are grants for people to ask from the government for education on the Constitution, education on how the system works, on all that education that small business owners and leaders of groups of small businesses could apply for.
What's the Small Business Association? If you go onto their website, there's a lot of information there. It's a matter of people feeling comfortable to go there to talk. Your local library is a great institution that not enough people to partake in. You can get so much information there on how to learn English, how to write a business plan. I mean, the library, it's all there. How to learn how to use computers. So I think people need to.
So we have lots of resources. Small businesses have lots of resources.
You have lots of resources, but I believe the problem is that I only learned about Penny, for example, is because there was a representative at a fair who I went and said hi, and he goes, "Let me tell you about this. I'm sorry no one in the community knows about this. These small businesses don't know about this. They need to know."
Yes.
We need better outreach, and it cannot constantly be in the same place to the same people. It means us walking into the rising sun, this beautiful rising sun, and walking to the local businesses. It means us having going into Feltonville. It means us going into Olney. It means us going into West Philadelphia. And really have this knocking on doors,
Yes.
going to churches, going to synagogues, mosques, Hindu temples, Sikh temples, going in there, Buddhist temples as well, and going in there and saying, "Are you aware? It's not political. Here are the services that you're available. This was from the local, this just came out, this bill, this is how it'll help you." It is a lot of work, but we have to do it. It's not enough what's going on now.
Alexandra, from an accounting standpoint, how many votes do you need to win?
Over 800,000.
800,000.
Yes.
How many people are in the state of Pennsylvania?
Oh, good. I'm sorry about
No,
the
that's okay. I'm
yeah,
asking accounting questions.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know. So I got to give you, next time I'll have all those numbers. But I can tell you that I was looking at the last elections, and I need about 900,000.
Okay, very good. Well, I hope I was intrigued. I don't know what our listeners were thinking. I love the way you talk. You bring a perspective that I haven't seen. I believe in what you're saying. That's from the heart. Your background shows it. So thank you very much for being on the show today.
Oh, the pleasure and honor is mine. Thank you.
Thank you. And you said next time. I love it. You're already thinking that you're going to be on again.
Oh, definitely. One way or another. Look, win or lose, I promise you this. This is my promise to you, to your listeners. Any information I get, so like, for example, Penny, I'm going to bring it to you so that you can bring it out to your constituents. This is my commitment. I promised my dad. My dad and I had a conversation. He goes, "Alex, people win elections, they lose elections, but do good." And that's my commitment. Win or lose, I promise you, I will continue to do good. I have you now as a resource to bring out spread the word, and that's what's more important, right? That we do good and we make and help our neighbors.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
The last vision I want you to leave with, Alexandria. Let's say I'm driving down the 95, and you get to have 10 free billboards. On those billboards, what's it going to say?
Community, compassion, justice, and prosperity for all.
Beautiful.
And Alex Khalil for U.S. Senate.
Of course.
And please look up the Small Business Union, see how they can help you.
Great.
There you go.
Is there a telephone number that we could leave with the listeners so we can
Yes.
contact you now?
215-479-6527. And my website is Alex Khalil, KHALILFORUSSenate.com.
Thank you very, very much. This is the Small Business Union sponsoring today the Business Truth channel. And we can be reached at 215-457-3100. And we're about uniting small businesses together because we are the most powerful in the city of Philadelphia. The small businesses have all the power. We just need to unite. We just need to talk to each other. We need to educate ourselves and just continue to bring family into our businesses, continue to bring God, put God in first, and everything will come together. Thank you again. This is Fernando Suarez, your server, your public servant, to be able to help you and educate us in the proper things. Thank you very much. Thank you, Khalil.
The pleasure and honor is mine. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.